Sports Snippets. My voice is cracking here today, or tonight, with Dennis Sullivan here on a late night Saturday, July 31st. Here to talk with you about really a broad topic, which would be sports for August. Because August is like probably the longest month of the year when it comes to options for a sports fan. I mean, you have no NBA. We're looking at NFL getting started with preseason, which I'll touch on. Then, of course, there's baseball, and we do have the Olympics now. We're right in the middle of the Olympics, which is pretty cool. So, as I just get into some thoughts on this whole thing, if you do like the content, this particular video, go ahead, hit the thumbs up. That would be awesome, much appreciated. Also, feel free to subscribe to my channel, Sports Snippets with Dennis Sullivan. So let's get started, guys. Really, there's actually a lot of sports going on. It's just that, you know, the 1-2 punch of NBA and regular season NFL is nowhere to be seen. So that tends to create some challenges for the average sports fan, myself included. Now, I am a big baseball fan, of course, and I think many of you are. At least you'd have to tell me, though, in the comment section. And I did have the pleasure of and the opportunity of checking out some Major League Baseball this Saturday night. So I was on my regular cable, of course, because I'm too cheap to buy any sports channels, which is true. But at the same time, really don't have enough time these days just to invest in a, all baseball or football channel. That would be cool one day. I just simply don't have the time to watch all that. But it was awesome on regular cable. We had two pretty good choices. The two local teams that I get, Marlins and Tampa Bay Rays. So on one hand, you had the Marlins Yankees, which was pretty interesting. Was watching a little bit of that. Definitely surfing, going back and forth between that and the very good game between the Boston Red Sox, Tampa Bay Rays. Rays would be victorious 9-5 and actually pull a half a game ahead of the Red Sox, which is very interesting. These two teams will go at it again tomorrow. The Rays are playing awesome baseball now, 63-42. The Red Sox, as mentioned, only a half game out at 63-43. So that's one heck of a series being played. And I watched about half of that game on and off. As far as the Marlins go, I mean, it's been a disappointing season. I mean, we got to keep in mind, this is a team that made it to the second round of the playoffs last year. They now fall to 44-60, 16 games below 500. Lose their second straight game to the New York Yankees, this time by a score of 4-2. Seems like the Marlins just, in the last few years, situational hitting just isn't there. I mean, they did a pretty good job at that last year. Whenever I watch them this year, a lot of squandered opportunities. It can get frustrating watching the Marlins sometimes, I got to tell you. But there is a lot of hope, it seems. It just, the vibe around the Marlins seems pretty positive. My thoughts on that is, I mean, that's good to see whenever a team's keeping it positive. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that, but you're 16 games below 500. They need to start winning games like yesterday. They really do. And they're actually a little bit better, in my humble opinion, than 44-60. So it's an interesting baseball season. I think your two most interesting races right now in the divisions are the one I just mentioned, Red Sox and Rays. Yankees about 7 out now, 55-48. Toronto hanging in there, 53-48. They're 8 games out of the division lead. White Sox seem to have things under control in the Central. Houston Astros have the best record in the American League by a game now, one game over the Rays, 64-41. Oakland looks strong, though, 59-47. Seattle playing pretty good, 56-48. But the other really good race that you have as far as divisional race goes is out west. because you have the San Francisco Giants with by only a game or a game and a half, but they have the best record not only in the National League, in Major League Baseball at 65-39. And they have a 3.5 game lead over the Los Angeles Dodgers at 62-43. Something tells me the Dodgers have so much talent. Just picked up Max Scherzer. Dodgers are going to make a run even if the Giants stay hot. I mean, Dodgers are just so good. So you got to keep an eye on that race out west in the National League. So there's a lot going on in major leagues, guys. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here to certainly stay interested. I mean, if you're even if you're a casual baseball fan, I know some, some sports fans. Oh, baseball? No, I don't watch baseball. If you're one of those guys or girls, I mean, I can't help you, with that. If you're not a fan of baseball, then that is fine with me. You can watch whatever you want to watch as far as sports goes. The Olympics, had a chance to check that out a little bit on this Saturday. Was watching a little bit of track and field just now. Seems pretty interesting. They're doing more the sprints and that type of those type of events. I'm kind of glancing over to my TV, which is muted, by the way. Was watching a little bit of women's beach volleyball. Brazil really playing tough against United States. That was pretty interesting. They were really going at it there. Big battle. I mean, it was very competitive. And then I was also watching, this is Saturday afternoon, a little bit of men's basketball, but it was in the United States. Of course, I want to check them out, see if I could watch them a little bit this weekend, perhaps on Sunday. But the game I was watching was Germany against Australia. And Australia looked pretty good, actually. They were playing pretty strong. I'm assuming they won. They were up by like 10 in the second half. We'll have to follow up and see if they did wind up winning that game. I'm assuming they did. They looked pretty strong. So that's about that, guys. That is that. We're about halfway through the Olympics. Ends in roughly a week or so, somewhere around the 7th, 8th of August or 9th of August, somewhere in that zone. And of course, tomorrow, or by the time you see this video, it will be August 1st or later. So, Olympics, Major League Baseball, and now, of course, in August, what do we have coming our way? Starting Thursday the 5th, you got it. NFL preseason football. I have mixed emotions on NFL preseason football. The preseason kicks off, by the way, before I get into my own feedback on this in general with preseason, but it kicks off Thursday night the 5th with a classic matchup, Hall of Fame game, Dallas Cowboys against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Doesn't get any more classic than that, guys. Hall of Fame game is mentioned in Canton, Ohio, which they will also have, I believe, the Hall of Fame ceremonies. The game and the ceremonies canceled last year for obvious reasons. Not canceled this year is very positive to see that this will be happening. And I will check it out a little. Why not? Getting back to my thoughts on preseason football, as I mentioned, I have mixed emotions. I mean, the games, of course, do not mean anything. They just don't. I mean, come on. You're going to, of course, you might tell me, well, it's good to see who's doing what and this guy's doing good and all this other stuff. Yes, I'm not going to really argue that, but I will argue that a little bit, meaning that, okay, who are they going up against? I mean, if guy in defense is looking really good, I mean, is he going up against first-team offense? Like that. So, and again, the games don't mean anything. So, but on the positive note, it's great to see football. So you see them in the uniforms, and sure, you can track certain players, see how they're looking, and it can get a little exciting. Ultimately, you're just there hoping that your players, your favorite players, and your top players on your team do not get hurt, okay? And do not get injured and miss any time. Never want to see that. especially preseason, when the regular season hasn't even gotten started yet, which I believe that will officially take place right after Labor Day. So that should be the Thursday after Labor Day, which I believe, guys, I'm kind of guessing here. Labor Day, I think, is the 7th, if I'm not mistaken, which means the NFL regular season kicking off somewhere around the 10th of September. So mark your calendars for all that. This is Sports Snippets with Dennis Sullivan. I hope I gave you a little kind of variety type video today as we get into arguably the most obscure month in sports, the month of August. Leave me a few comments. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.